Okay, so you want to set up a Rusty Kaspa node. Of course you do. In this video, we'll go through the steps to do just that. I am Carl the Pirate, and I'll be your guide. At first glance, this may look crazy, but if we look a little closer, we can see some familiar terms. There's a list of accepted blocks, then a summary, rinse, and repeat. Each accepted block is a freshly mined block on the network. Each summary shows how many blocks were mined in the last few moments. 10 blocks in 10 seconds is 1 block per second. Yes, indeed. Okay, we're going to head on over to the GitHub page for Rusty Kaspa. It's good to note that the development team has been making changes recently and updating. Always a good sign. Scroll on down here. We're going to do this on Windows today. So first step here is we're going to install Git for Windows. So click on that button and this will take you over to a page that looks a bit like this. So we're going to click download and download an installer. Doesn't take too long. Alright, so we're going to run this installer and it looks like this. I put the icon on my desktop. That's the only change I made in that window. And through this whole process, I kept the recommended default settings through this setup. So I didn't change anything and it worked for me, so I would recommend just going through. I did take my time and read a bit to see if I should be changing any of these things. So I moved through here a little slow, but it's almost there. Alright, so we're extracting and installing the Git. You'll find it in your apps. And I just like to make a shortcut with the Git command. So I pin it to my taskbar. And I believe you should as well. Or your start. Just find it, make it easier to find when we need it later. So that is that. Next done, we're going to install protocol buffers and add them to path. So we click on this. And this is going to download a zip file to our downloads folder. And then from there we're going to put it in our path. So once we get that in our downloads folder, we're going to extract it. And we're going to right click on this bin file when we open the folder. And we're going to copy as path. So right click on the bin and copy as path. Just like that. Now we're going to go down to our start taskbar, and in the search we're going to enter environment variables. And as soon as you start typing, it should show up there towards the top. Click on that. And then once that opens up, we're going to click on path and we're going to go to edit. Not new, but edit. And then from there we're going to click on new. And we're going to paste that copied path there. Now you'll notice I already have it there, so I'm going to erase that version, but you're going to hit OK. Actually, you're going to leave that open because we're going to use it again. So we're going to install the LLVM by clicking here. It's going to download an installer, which you have to tell it to run anyway. And that's going to download an installer, and then we're going to start installing this LLVM. And this is going to get installed into your program files on your C drive. So go through this. I did change one thing. Add LLVM to the system path for all users. This didn't work for me, but I would recommend clicking it anyway, just in case it works for you. So we're going to go over and click next, and then we'll move on to adding it to path. I didn't change anything here. And so this is going to go through its thingy. And then you'll note this important part. We're going to end up doing that as well. Just changing a file name within the program file folder for this LLVM. Pretty simple. It does take a few minutes for this installer to do its thing. A lot of these processes I've cut a lot short, so just be patient through the process. It does take some time. Alright, so we've got that installed. What we're going to do is we're going to add it to path. There's two ways you could do this. First is you could go into your C drive, find your program files, and find the LLVM folder. And you could do the same thing, add it to path. But we're just going to grab it from the GitHub page because it's right here, nice and handy. So just copy that, and then find where that environmental variable thing, it's hiding back here behind the windows. So you got to minimize your browser. There it is. And we're add new and paste that in there. I've already done it, so again I'm going to erase that one, but you're going to do that, and very importantly click this second OK right there. If you don't do that, it doesn't keep it for some reason. Alright, we're going to rename that file, so we're going to go back to the C drive, and then again we're going to find the program file folder, and then we're going to find our LLVM. Go to the bin, and we're going to find that -AR, LLVM-AR, and I made it large. You might find yours small letters. I use capital so we'd stick it out and we could see it. So you're just going to take everything to the left of that AR and just erase it. And it's going to probably give you a little hard time, but you can say continue as administrator and get that done. So now we just have the AR, not the original. Okay, so we're installing the Rust toolchain. This is pretty simple, but we also need this Visual Studio stuff. So once we get this going, it's going to install, but we have to do this Visual Studio stuff first. So you're going to copy this link and put it in your browser. Use copy C or Control C there to copy it from the command window. Alright, we're going to go to the community, download, and then once this gets downloaded, we're going to run this installer. And it's a very, very important thing right here. You want to install the C++ development workload with this installer. So right here you'll see on this page, I made this mistake, so don't do it. See desktop development with C++, that needs to be checked. So make sure you check it. Yeah, big warning. Click on the C++ package before proceeding. I did not. I had to go back and fix it. Now let's go open this git command we placed in our taskbar conveniently, and we are going to do a bunch of commands here. Pretty simple stuff. We're going to grab this little command. Do not use this copy button. It does not work proper. Development team, you might want to make that right. But just do the old-fashioned copy, and then we're going to right-click into the GitHub right there, and then hit enter. I'm not going to hit enter right here because I've already done this, but you will, and it'll do a bunch of stuff. Now we're going to do the same thing for the next step. We are going to copy it the old-fashioned way. Do not use those buttons. copy old-fashioned. Now we're going to go to the command window. Your command window will look a little busier, but right-click and then hit enter, and it's going to start doing stuff. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it here. And then we're going to move on to the next step. Pretty much the same thing. Your window's going to be a bit busier because you've already done all that other stuff. But copy the old-fashioned way and right-click and then hit enter. And that's going to do a bunch of stuff. This is the fun part, y'all. So there's two ways to go about this. The hard way, which is going to the GitHub page and copying this right there, and go into your Git command window and right click, then hit enter, and that puts you in that directory. Now we're going to go back to the GitHub, but I'll show you. We made this easy for ourselves in a previous step, and I'll show you that in a minute. So you're going to hit that, and all of a sudden some things are going to happen, and we're going to do the dramatic. There we go. So it's going to do quite a bit of stuff before you're actually accepting blocks and you know, participating in the network. So it takes quite a while. It's going to synchronize a bunch of things. So we won't go through all of that, but if you've gotten to this part, you are doing it, and eventually it will start accepting blocks. If you get an error here, very likely the C++ didn't get installed. All right, here's where we created a shortcut for ourselves. So we created this little notepad with these two commands on it in an earlier step. That cd Rusty Kaspa and the cargo run. So we just want to go get our GitHub or Git command open, and then we're going to do the cd Rusty Kaspa first, get us in the directory, and then right click and hit enter, and that gets us into that directory, and then run this. Same thing, copy it and right click and hit enter. And this is how you can fire up the node when you just need to, when you have already done this whole installation. So there is an update that you can do from time to time. That is in the GitHub page. Holler in the comments if you need a little direction on that. But here we are, firing up the node, and it's, again, every time you start it, it's going to go through a bunch of synchronizations. And so yeah, fun stuff. And at this time, it's a lot of empty blocks, but they're going fast. Let's fill these blocks up. Let's use these. Hey, if you feel like this was helpful, shoot over some CAS. We'll keep on making this series about interacting with this network. It's a real promising technology. A lot of going on these days. Right, I hope you enjoyed. You know what to do.